So where exactly did the Maya go? It's a question that has honestly captivated our imaginations for centuries. You know the story, right? There's this incredibly popular myth that the ancient Maya, the brilliant architects behind those towering jungle pyramids and massive ancient cities, just mysteriously vanished into thin air, literally leaving their entire civilization behind overnight.
Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the true story of the Maya myth, collapse, and survival. We're going to take this fascinating journey through archaeological data, paleoclimatic records, and ancient historical texts. We'll move way beyond just the ruins of these city-states to uncover the actual systemic reasons behind their historical collapse. And ultimately, we're going to discover the incredible resilience of the Maya people, who, spoiler alert, are very much alive today.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the vanished Maya myth and the terminal classic collapse.
Now, you might already know that the classic Maya period, which peaked between 250 and 800 CE, was an era of absolute brilliance in architecture and mathematics. But then, between the 8th and 10th centuries CE, the Maya lowlands experienced a massive systemic downfall. This terminal classic period was defined by a huge population decline, complete political disintegration, and the widespread abandonment of once thriving cities. So it wasn't magic or aliens, it was a very real cascading breakdown.
Moving right along to Section 2, the ecological collapse cycle. Basically, how the environment broke a civilization.
It's honestly wild to think about, but the Maya kind of engineered their own ecological stress. It started with a massive population boom, which obviously increased the demand for resources. To keep up, they engaged in large-scale deforestation for agriculture. And here's the crazy irony. They needed absolutely massive amounts of firewood just to bake the lime plaster for those incredible temples we admire today. Talk about burning the ground you stand on, right? Finally, clearing all those forests led straight to severe soil erosion and nutrient depletion. And this brilliantly illustrates the devastating domino effect that followed. It's like a giant puzzle falling apart. Environmental stress, like droughts and deforestation, trickled directly down into resource depletion. We're talking severe water scarcity and completely degraded soil. Without fertile soil, you obviously get a massive agricultural decline. Less food inevitably breeds economic stress, and that sparks political instability over whatever resources are left. Ultimately, this whole cycle forces mass migration, urban abandonment, and total societal collapse.
To put that environmental stress into perspective, get this. Paleoclimatic studies, where scientists look at things like lake sediments and cave stalagmites, reveal a staggering statistic. Rainfall in the Maya lowlands dropped by 41 to 54% during this terminal classic period. In some extreme years, it plummeted by up to 70%. Since their vital maize crops relied completely on seasonal rainfall stored in reservoirs, this prolonged drought absolutely devastated their food supply.
Which brings us to Section 3, brutal warfare and political ruin, the collapse hathens.
For the longest time, archaeologists actually believed Maya warfare was highly ritualized. Limited skirmishes just to capture elite nobles for ransom while leaving the commoners and resources alone. But the archaeological reality? It's far darker. As overpopulation and extreme drought caused widespread starvation, warfare completely escalated into total war. We are talking vicious, scorched earth tactics and massive civilian displacement. They essentially began destroying the very resources they were fighting to control.
Let me give you a specific, crazy example of this brutality. We can look at an ancient hieroglyphic inscription from the city of Naranjo. It explicitly states that on May 21, 697 AD, the neighboring city of Witsna was burned to the ground. And researchers literally found a distinct charcoal layer in a nearby lake matching this exact time frame, proving widespread destruction. Naranjo wasn't just looking for a few captives, they eliminated the entire city. This is absolutely crucial because it proves that extreme total warfare was happening way earlier in Maya history than scholars originally thought. So let's look at Section 4, Ancient Collapse, Modern Crises. Is history repeating itself? When you really look at the data objectively, there are some striking parallels between the ancient Maya struggles and our modern world. It's fascinating. The Maya faced prolonged droughts. Today, we face global warming. They had massive agricultural deforestation. We grapple with industrial-scale deforestation. Both societies feature explosive population growth that leads directly to severe resource depletion. For them, it was soil and water. For us, it's fossil fuels and biodiversity.
But here is the vital difference in how we respond to these crises. While the Maya adapted locally by building reservoirs, their political response ultimately fractured into violent warfare and abandoning their cities. Modern society, however, has things like renewable energy, global agreements, and active climate adaptation strategies. Our crucial advantage over the Maya lies in our capacity for global coordination, our shared scientific knowledge, and our institutional resilience. And that leads us to Section 5. The Maya are still here, a culture of survival. Here is the ultimate reality check for you. Today, there are more than 11 million Maya people living in the world. That is a massive, thriving population. If you ever thought the Maya were just some extinct people confined to history books or literally just ruins in the jungle, this statistic completely blows that myth out of the water. They never left. And the modern Maya aren't just a single monolith either. They are incredibly diverse. The top 3 largest populations today are the Quiche and Yucatec Mayas, both boasting over 1.6 million people, and the Quiche, with over 1.3 million. These are distinct, vibrant communities thriving right now across regions like Guatemala, Mexico, and Belize. The Maya are highly active participants in the modern world, all while beautifully maintaining a rich living heritage. We're talking about more than 30 distinct living Mayan languages being spoken today. They're renowned globally for their vibrant textiles and weaving, and many communities still practice traditional, highly sustainable agriculture. Plus, they are deeply integrated into modern professions. They're doctors, architects, politicians, all while actively preserving their sacred calendar and profound spiritual connection to the earth. To really humanize all this data, take a look at this quote. Ixkikpo Selenik, a Quiche Maya woman, says, "I have found that being a daykeeper and a lawyer have a lot in common because through both professions, I help bring balance to my community." Now, a daykeeper is a traditional spiritual guide who keeps the sacred Maya calendar. Her life perfectly illustrates how modern Maya individuals seamlessly and powerfully blend their ancient traditions with modern professional life.
And that brings us to this incredibly resonant, powerful thought from Nobel Peace Prize laureate Rigoberta Menchú, a Quiche political activist. She states, "We are not myths of the past, ruins in the jungle, or zoos. We are people, and we want to be respected." Honestly, that perfectly concludes our journey from the myth of a vanished people to the reality of a vibrant, enduring, and deeply resilient culture.
But as we wrap up this explainer, we have to look back at the lessons of that terminal classic period and ask ourselves a pretty vital question. If an ancient civilization this complex, this advanced, and this incredibly resilient could ultimately fall to environmental hubris and resource mismanagement, are we truly immune today? It's definitely something we all need to be thinking about.